Hey everyone, and welcome back, or if you're new here, my name is Josh, and in today's video, I'm going to be reviewing the FNBO Evergreen Credit Card. So I'll be going over the main features of this card, its pros as well as its drawbacks. So hopefully by the end of this video, you'll have a much better idea of whether or not this credit card is a good fit for you. But before we go ahead and dive into the main features of this card, if you wouldn't mind helping me out real quickly by just giving this video a like, that just helps out with the good old YouTube algorithm, and also consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already. Plus, if you would like to receive up to $10,000 in free stocks, in a pinned comment below, I will be leaving a link to Moomoo. All you have to do is once you click on that link is just sign up for a free account and then deposit at least $100. At that point, Moomoo will be sending you at least 5 free stocks worth all the way up to $10,000. Okay, so diving right into the main features of the FNBO Evergreen Credit Card. First off, we're going to be talking about cash back and how you can earn it with this card. So on all transactions across the board and on an unlimited basis, you will be earning 2% cash back with this credit card. So you can spend $100 per month with this card, or you can spend like $10 billion every single month with this credit card. And no matter what, you are going to be earning 2% cash back on every single transaction. So it's very simple. They don't have special categories where you might earn like 3% cash back in this category, but only 1% cash back in this category. It's very simple across everything, every single transaction, you will be earning 2% cash back. Now on top of that, this card also has a spend bonus as well. So as long as you're able to spend at least $1,000 within the first 3 billing cycles of having this credit card, you will be receiving a spend bonus of $200. Now, as far as the cash back, whether it be on your transactions or whether it be the spend bonus, you will have a few different options on how to redeem this cash back. So those options are going to be cash back as a statement credit, an ACH deposit into a checking or savings account, or finally, if you'd rather just receive a check in the mail, you can receive it that way as well, completely up to you. Now with this card, there are also going to be some other features as well. So just for instance, you are going to have the contactless technology that pretty much comes with every credit card out there. It's pretty standard. You're also going to be receiving fraud protection as well. And then you can also keep up on your credit score. So you will be receiving your FICO score each month online at absolutely no charge to you. You're also going to have online services, a mobile app, and then you're also going to have zero fraud liability. So if someone steals your credit card number and they go out and spend hundreds or thousands of dollars with it, you will not be held liable to pay for those transactions because you did not authorize them. So of course that is a pretty good benefit as well. And then you're also going to be receiving roadside dispatch and global services. So if you're lost abroad and you lose your credit card and you don't have any cash on you, you can receive a replacement card or emergency cash within a pretty quick time frame. So those are the main benefits of this card at this point in time. We are going to go ahead and dive into the APR and fees because of course this is also super important as well. So starting out, your purchase APR is going to be anywhere between 21.24 to 29.24% based on your credit worthiness. Then as far as balance transfers go, starting out on those, you are going to have an APR on your balance transfers of anywhere between 21.24 to 29.24% based on your credit worthiness. So just like your purchase is there. Now with this card, there's really not much of a point in doing a balance transfer because unlike with other credit cards out there, you're not receiving some type of introductory APR of like 0%. Like you see with some of the other credit cards out there on the market. Instead, you're going to be paying a pretty big interest rate. So unless the credit card that you're transferring the balance from has a much higher interest rate than the 21.24% and all the way up to 29.24%, then it's probably not going to be worth it to do the balance transfer. Now, as far as cash advances go, on this channel, we usually recommend to stay far away from cash advances. This, of course, should not be considered financial advice. Just my own personal reasons. Usually, you pay a very high interest rate on them. Plus, you have to dish out a lot of fees as well. But if you do decide to take out a cash advance, just know that your APR on them is going to be a whopping 29.74%. Plus, of course, you are going to have to pay a lot of fees as well, which we are going to dive into right now. So as far as the fees go on the cash advances, you're going to be paying a fee of either $15 or 5% of the amount of each cash advance whichever happens to be greater. So obviously this can add up to being quite a bit. Then as far as balance transfers, even though there's not much of a point of doing a balance transfer, at least starting out with this credit card, if perhaps later down the line they send you some type of offer like a 0% APR on your balance transfers for, let's say, like 12 months, and you decide to accept it, just know that it's not going to be completely free, because there is going to be fees on each balance transfer that you make, and it could certainly change. But right now on their fees page, the fee on each balance transfer is going to be either $10 or 5% of the amount of each balance transfer, whichever happens to be greater. And then on foreign transactions, unfortunately with this credit card, if you do happen to travel abroad, this is a credit card you'll probably want to leave back at home and instead maybe take one by Capital One, because if you decide to use this Evergreen credit card while you're outside the country, you are unfortunately going to be hit with an extra fee of 3% on all foreign transactions. Then as far as late payments, there is going to be a late payment fee of up to $40. Now if you happen to pay late for the first time, maybe even the second time, you could always try to call in and ask if they will waive that fee. Maybe they will for a one-time convenience, but I really wouldn't continue to pay late. So I would recommend maybe to set up auto pay, mark in your calendars, do whatever you have to do, make sure that you are paying time. That way you won't be faced with having to pay a late fee of up to $40. Then there's also going to be a fee for return payments as well. That fee is going to be $35. And then finally, thankfully, a good thing about this credit card is there is no annual fee. So you can keep this card every single year. You don't have to do a whole lot of thinking, because for example, if this card had like a fee of like $95 on an annual basis, you might have to sit around every single year and figure whether or not you're receiving enough benefits with this card to make paying $95 for it worth it, because once again, there is no annual fee, so you really don't have to put much thought involved. So those are the main features of this card, as well as the APR and fees. At this point in time, we are going to go ahead and dive into what I would consider to be the biggest pros and drawbacks of this credit card. So we're going to start out with the best things of this credit card. The best thing about it, in my opinion, is the fact that you are going to be receiving 2% cash back across the board. That's pretty solid when you compare it to other credit cards out there in the market, where a lot of them are only 1 to 1.5% cash back on all transactions. You can also earn a $200 spend bonus pretty easily by spending just $1,000 within the first 3 billing cycles. That's going to be $1,000 right around in the first 90 days of having this credit card. So it's going to be pretty easy to achieve for most people. And then finally with this card, there's also no annual fee either. So it's a pretty good positive. So those are the best things about this card. As far as the biggest drawbacks go, even though you are going to be earning 2% cash back across the board, if I wanted to be really picky, I would say that it doesn't have like any special categories. Like for example, it would be great if it was 2% cash back across the board, but on gas, for instance, if they gave like 3% cash back on gas or 3% cash back on groceries, that would be a great positive, but still, all in all, 2% cash back across the board is pretty good. Also, if I wanted to be super picky, I would say it does not have an introductory APR on purchases or balance transfers like you see with some of the other cards out there on the market. So obviously that's a drawback as well. And then finally, it's also a card that you'll have to keep at home if you do happen to travel outside of the country and take one that does not have a foreign transaction fee, because unfortunately this credit card does have a foreign transaction fee of 3%. But all in all, I would say this is a credit card that is a pretty good one, and it is a credit card I probably would recommend. Now, if you wanted to even outdo this credit card, you might consider the credit card by Wells Fargo called the Wells Fargo Active Cash credit card. That card also has 2% cash back across the board. It also offers a $200 spend bonus, but on top of all that, they also offer a 0% introductory APR for the first 15 months on both purchases and balance transfers. So that card is pretty much this card and even more. So if you want to get an even better credit card than this one, then you might want to consider the Wells Fargo Active Cash credit card. But all in all, this credit card is a pretty good one as well. But that's all we have for today's review. I certainly hope that you enjoyed and found value out of it. If you did, again, I would greatly appreciate it if you could give this video a like. Consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already. And I will see you in the next video.